August is a powerful month. It is full of a lot of retrograde energy. It's full of a lot of power. A lot of energy is happening in Leo still. We've had a big highlight on Leo. The sun is going to get incredibly strong this month as it enters Leo, shining the light for all of us on our confidence, on our self-esteem, our leadership, and creativity. Mercury is going to go retrograde this month. Yes, it's retrograde again. It retrogrades 3 times a year, and it still has one more to go at the end of the year. And that means something very special for you. Venus is in its retrograde. Those relationship issues are coming up to the surface, but they're coming up to be healed. I worked on that in the full moon healing circle. Jupiter is about to go retrograde. It's a really mixed energy month, but things can move forward even in all this retrograde energy. There's some real power. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I'm so glad that you are here. If you are wanting to know what your Vedic astrology ascendant or moon is, be sure to click the link down in the description for the chart calculator. It's free. You'll get a nice guide to your chart that goes along with it, so you know what your ascendant is and your moon sign, and then you can know which house these transits are hitting you in, and that's going to be super useful for you. You could also take the free Sacred Wealth Code quiz and lots of other free options, along with all the links to my readings, classes, and programs are below. If this information's resonating with you, I would invite you to subscribe. I bring these monthly updates, the new moon update, and more. And feel free to like and share this. I appreciate your support. August started with a full super moon in the grounded, committed, hardworking sign of Capricorn in Vedic astrology. Yes, I'm talking about Vedic astrology, the sidereal zodiac. And I did an update about this, and the link is down below. There's probably a little thing up here that says the link is there as well. So watch the full moon update. Even though it's after the full moon, it's still very relevant. So it's really good to know where this is. And we have 2 full moons this month. We also have a blue moon on the 30th. I'll bring you another update about that as well. And I always hold my healing circles on the full moon. And you can still get the replay where we worked on relationships, boundaries, our attachments. The Venus retrograde is playing big into the energy that we have going on, and we're all dealing with relationship issues in one way or another, but they're up for healing. So that link is down below as well. So the month is, as we start off with that full moon, we still have Venus in retrograde, and there is a bunch of retrograde energy this month. And the Venus retrograde is going to be happening until September 4th. And it's moving from Leo into Cancer in Vedic astrology. So it's been in Leo, and we're just about getting to that point, and it's going through Gandanta again. Yes, again, this place where it's like swimming across the river instead of having a bridge when we go from a fire sign to a water sign, or a water sign to a fire sign. And so in this time, it can be a little unnerving. Things can be confusing and a bit unclear. So setting your intentions for your relationships really help during this Gandanta time. So during that time of when it is shifting signs, it's going to be an Ashlesha, and it's going to be there for a bit. And it's just a very tumultuous part of the zodiac. There's a lot of karmic knots being untied. I want to invite you to trust the process with the Venus retrograde. We're all facing stuff coming up. As it's been in Leo, it is really wanting us to have our authentic expression and our creativity. And we have this underlying desire to be recognized for, and recognized and seen. And that need may or may not be getting met. And there's a big thing going on with this Venus retrograde about our needs and versus our desires. We have both. And it's important to get both met, but it's good to tease those out. Again, I talk about that a lot in the full moon healing circle. So the Venus retrograde, as it moves into Cancer, and it'll be in Cancer for the rest of August into September, It is going to be a little bit more peaceful, but it's really reflecting on our home and family and relationships and matters of the heart. And Cancer being very emotional and sensitive and a sign of deep devotion. What are we devoted to in relationships? I mean, we have relationships. So much of our life is built on relationships, not just our love relationships, but we're in connection with others all the time. So Venus will be out of the aspect of Saturn once it's in Cancer. It'll also be away from Mars, so it'll smooth out a little bit, but it's going to be potentially more emotional, okay? It has to do with just keep in your awareness, what are my attachments that I'm being called to release? What are my attachments I'm being called to release? It's really important. We need to be attached and have healthy attachments to take care of those we love and the things that we care about. But being overly attached turns into control, and it keeps us bound and holds us back as well as holds others back, and sometimes it destroys relationships. So there's a theme with Venus around our value, because Venus also represents luxury and finances and something specific for you, because Venus rules something specific for you depending on what house Libra is in your chart and what house Taurus is. But then collectively, for all of us, it represents all these things. Now, going into Cancer, which is the natural fourth house of the zodiac, but it might be something different for you. So I'm talking collectively, but when you look at your chart, or if you get a reading, you're looking deeper at what is it specifically for me. So just hold that, okay? So it's going to ask you, and has been asking you, to reflect on your values and your beliefs. And are your values and your beliefs actually serving you? And old relationship issues are coming up to the surface, and they're coming up for healing. So do your best to not be frustrated with that. Instead, just be in a place of curiosity and self-inquiry, and get support if you need to process things. So since 2015, which was 8 years ago, that was the last time Venus retrograded in this placement. So you can refer back what was going on, because there was a theme then, and history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, as Mark Twain said. So, what was going on in the summer of 2015, because this is the next evolution of that. So just take note of that. Venus is moving from an evening star to a morning star. She does this every 18 months or so, okay? And so Venus is visible for part of that time, and then not visible. When it's not visible, it's in its inferior conjunction with the sun, and it disappears for a while, does its transcendence, its purification with the sun, and then it comes out as a morning star, and it'll start to be visible again on August 22nd as a morning star. So it's a very transformative time. So what does Cancer rule for you? We know for all of us, it's home, family, matters of the heart, what we're devoted to, and what it rules for you as far as your chart goes is whatever Cancer itself rules for you. So the other retrograde energy, Venus is retrograde, Mercury's going to retrograde. I'll get into that deeply, and that's going to happen on the 24th of August. Saturn is retrograde, and has been and will be until November, and Saturn is aspecting Leo, but Saturn's finally starting to pick up some speed in the retrograde. It's almost been standing still. So you're going to start to feel some things that Saturn represents start to move. And Saturn moves slowly anyway, and Saturn's our great planet of karma. It's in Aquarius. It is the planet that is our hard work, our commitment. We face our fears with Saturn, and Saturn holds our feet to the fire around our commitments. We've been revisiting some things that our Aquarius represents. What's our place in society? What are our purpose connected with who we're, our social purpose. So we're revisiting some things about that. Once it goes direct, we'll be able to start to take more action on those things. But in general, because of Saturn standing still, there's just been some things that have really been going at a snail's pace. That is going to start to pick up. So that's the good news. Pluto's retrograde. It's been retrograde for a while. Neptune's retrograde. It's been retrograde for a while. And Uranus will go retrograde on the 28th. I'll speak into that in a little bit here. I'll go chronologically for you. So if you want to take some notes on this and mark your calendar. After we've got the Venus retrograde going on. Let's talk about, I want you to mark the date on your calendar also with the Venus retrograde of the 13th of August, because the sun will be in conjunction with Venus at that time. And that could be especially challenging for relationships, 12th, 13th, 14th of August. So around the whole Venus retrograde and the challenges there. And that's the great connector, which I have behind me here on the wall as far as the archetypes go. So mark that on your calendar to just take a major chill pill, give some grace, don't get into any heated arguments. If something comes down in a relationship, not a time to make a big choice. And in fact, I would say it's not a time to make a big decision in relationships if you don't have to. You may have a long-standing relationship issue that's been up and now it's time to do something different. It's not new and you may need to take an action now, and that's fine. If there's an ultimate big decision to make, I would wait until September 5th and after if you can, when Venus goes direct again. This is big energy, so we want to work with it and we want to get the benefit of it. All energy is good for something. So what's it good for? Mercury is in Leo. It's already been in Leo. And it's going to be in Leo for a while longer because it's going to retrograde there. So Mercury, our great communicator, which is behind me as well, and also the great merchant. Mercury moves really fast sometimes and just whizzes through signs. And then it stations and then it retrogrades and it stays in a sign for a couple of months, and it stays in for a year's period of time. It's retrograding in the same element. This year it's fire signs, and the fire signs rule something specific for you. It's either relationships, purpose, wealth, or spirituality, and that's the areas you're taking a closer look at when Mercury goes retrograde. So that's something unique for you. And then Mercury in general is the karaka of intelligence. It's our learning ability. It's our speech, our communication. It is, technology and gadgets and things like that. It rules business and commerce and banking, education. It's writing. It's all forms of communication, including media and books. But it's also, Mercury is, can be very humorous as well. And like I said, even social media, all modes of media. So in Leo, it brings on it's fiery, it's sharp, it's quick, and it's a mental brilliance. It's very quick while it's going direct. And Leo can be a very creative placement, and especially it's the natural 5th house of the zodiac. So it is can make our creativity and our expression of ideas a little bit more dramatic with Mercury there, and and this sort of the desire to entertain or be entertained. Our curiosity can again be very in the forefront for us, and we can have this nature to sort of just speak from our gut and just speak quickly and even reflexively. So while Mercury is in Leo, and especially before it goes retrograde, it's moving very quickly, you're going to want to breathe before you speak, think before you speak, and remember to include your heart in speaking. How do you do that? You take a breath, you remember to connect with your heart, and sometimes it's even good to swallow your head and make sure you're speaking from your heart so that you are not just being reflexive from the mind. So it can be a very creative time and curious time as far as being in Leo, and that's fine. But this, use your mental brilliance, learn something, and decide that, like, if you're going to engage in learning something or making an investment, for instance, something financial, do that before the retrograde. During the retrograde, August 24th to the 16th, then it's going to retrograde, and it's going to be it's going to retrograde, and start that in Uttara Phalguni. And then things will be going slower. So take things slower. And it does have the aspect of Saturn here. Make sure that, a lot of times we say don't make any big decisions when Mercury is retrograde. And it's really when it stations and when it goes direct again. So you want to watch the dates 23rd, 24th, 25th, the September 15th, 16th, 17th. Those are the acute periods of time, okay? So besides that, it's not that you can't make any decisions. We make decisions all the time. If there's something that's super important and you can delay it, do that. Maybe, if don't take any risky investments during that time. If you can avoid that, that would be good. But it's a time where we're going to be reevaluating our creativity, reevaluating our communication, and whatever Leo rules for you personally. You're reevaluating, again, either purpose, relationships. You may be reevaluating wealth or your spirituality. Like for me, it's hitting me in a spiritual house. I'm taking a step back during that time. Mercury's my planet, so it kind of hits me on a double level. So it's time to make sure that I have more of my spiritual practice, deeper times in meditation. I'm going to need to pull in a little bit. With it being in Leo, you want to check your ego out the door. Not a bad thing to do all the time, but you're going to want to. You're going to be rethinking some things. Your communication, we want to have our communication be very purposeful. And we're going to want, with Mercury in Leo, to be communicating about our vision, about our purpose, like about our, what we're leading. It's the great place of the leader, of the king, and the celebrity are the sun's archetypes, and sun owns Leo. So it's not a bad time. The retrograde is actually when the planet is stronger. It's the furthest away from the sun. But there are a few precautions that we're going to want to take. And of course, back up your technology beforehand. But don't be one of those doomsdayers with, Mercury retrograde, and blame everything on it. It's not that. It's never about blaming the energy on the planets. But it's just like the weather. Okay, I know it's raining outside, so I'm going to suit up for the rain. Okay, so I want you to be prepared for it. August 16th, we have a new moon, and it'll be in Cancer and in Ashlesha, right at the Gandanta point again. Again, this place, this karmic untying of knots. We had a new moon in July in Cancer. So we have two new moons in Cancer. It was barely in Cancer for the new moon in July, and it's just at the end of Cancer at 29 degrees. Very interesting times, lots of transformation. So this is going to bring a new start to things. New moons are always a new start, and especially whatever Cancer rules for you. And then again, we've had the Venus retrograde there. Lots going on in Cancer, and home, family, domestic issues, things like that. And Venus will be very close by with this new moon, but it is going to be very pivotal for starting, for having a new start. I will bring an update for this new moon, as I always do, but it's going to be an emotional period of time. So just mark that time and know that the emotions will be high. So give yourself a little bit of space, a little bit more compassion for you and everybody else. But you can even start now percolating. What are you really ready to start new? Okay. And you'll be reflecting on your values as well. August 17th, the next day, and of course the sun and the moon are together on a new moon. So the sun transitions right into Leo on the next day. And it is, again, the best placement for the leader, the celebrity, and the king. So this is, we're going to all feel our vitality, our jiva, our expression, our leadership, and our confidence just get really strong from mid-August to mid-September. This is the Leo period of time for Vedic astrology. It doesn't start till then, until it's Leo season. It's very good for whatever you're leading, especially those of you who are, in your entrepreneurial ventures and your thought leadership and the movement you're leading in the world. You're going to want to really express yourself, and you're going to have the energy to do it. Mercury will be retrograde for part of that time, but the Sun and Mercury together are a Buddha Adita yoga. It's a mental brilliance. So there's going to be a lot of clarity that comes through. You're going to want to communicate, and your communication is going to get even brighter and more brilliant. And during that time, so it's great. That's going to be just a really great transit for all of us. And you Leo ascendants, your planet's coming home out of the 12th house, and that's going to feel very rejuvenating for you. There'll be a lot of wisdom as well, because Jupiter is aspecting Leo. So with the retrograde of Mercury, with Sun going into Leo, and Mars is still in Leo at this point, all of that's being aspected by Jupiter. So lean into your wisdom. Don't forget to lean into your wisdom. We have the grace of Jupiter wherever it aspects, and it has the trine aspect. It always is going to aspect the 5-9 in the chart. So when in doubt, lean into your wisdom. Take a step back, take a breath, tune into what's the wisest thing I can do here. Okay. On the 18th, Mars is going to move into Virgo. It's the natural 6th house of health, of healing, of work as well, of service, of seva. And, Virgo is the healing sign. It's a sensitive sign. Mars going into this placement is very much the energy of the engineer, good at productivity and attention to details and getting things done. But Mars also agitates things, and I want to invite you this month to even start to bolster up your immune system. Mars can trigger things as far as health, wellness, healing, disease. So we could see some things happen that are health challenges and such. So start bolstering up your immune system now, with your vitamin C, with your herbs, with more sleep. Less stress is always great for your immune system. Meditation is great for your immune system. You're going to want to watch out for arguments, okay? And Mars can heat up the Virgo, and Mercury owns Virgo, and it's going to be retrograde. So watch out for the overthinking. Instead, focus on getting just very practical with the Martian energy and being productive without overthinking, attending to the details and sort of checking off the list without overthinking. We want to keep Mars busy in the right kind of way. And with Mars, I always say sweat, exercise, take the edge off, but don't overdo. We want to take care of our health and well-being. On the 27th, the Sun and Mars are going to be directly opposite one another. That's a challenging aspect. It won't last very long. It'll be a day or so, but mark August 27th. You might feel mentally restricted, creatively, you just won't feel creatively restricted. Your confidence could be low. You just will feel like, okay, all of a sudden, maybe that's not the thing to do, or you don't have the energy for it. This will pass. It's a self-care day. It's a self-care time. On August 30th, Uranus goes retrograde. It'll be for 5 months. It's going retrograde in the nakshatra of Kritika, in Aries. And Uranus is our great planet of innovation, of surprises. It's the great liberator, but it's a breakthrough kind of an energy. It's revolutionary. It creates sudden changes. So you may see something all of a sudden fall out, or you may see something all of a sudden come in, and you're going to need to roll with it, okay? And trust and lean into the transformation that Uranus is bringing, okay? So changes can come quickly, and some of the changes you've been waiting for that haven't happened, Uranus can spur those off. August 30th is a blue moon, and it'll be at 13 degrees of Aquarius in Shadabisha. It's an incredibly powerful moon again, and Shadabisha is an incredibly healing nakshatra. It's where we can heal some of our deepest pain and really help us. Again, it's Saturn's placement in Aquarius, really help us to create some boundaries and that create true liberation for us. It has a potentiality of opening our consciousness to be able to see ourselves more clearly, see our place in our place in the world, our social dharma. So Shadabishra is known as 100 healers. I will do an update about this. There'll be a full moon healing circle at this time as well. But it really can, Shadabishra is said to be able to really create miracles that are helpful for really stubborn healing situations. So this will be, again, a very powerful full moon, and I'll bring you an update for that. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching the update. And if you have any questions for me, please leave them. Let me know what's happening for you in the comments. I answer all my comments. All the links to my readings, my healing sessions, the full moon circle, the free resources, the quiz are all down below. And I look forward to supporting you. So click a link and book yourself a reading or grab one of the free resources. All right, so much love to you.